In March, we recognize Women's History Month, a time to honor the contributions, leadership, resilience, and the impact of women across generations. And within this month, we celebrate International Women's Day, a global reminder that women aren't just a part of history, they actively are shaping the future. The 2026 theme is Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future. This calls attention to the women who are rebuilding systems, whether it be environmental, economic, or even social. This is to create something more equitable and lasting for generations to come. From boardrooms to classrooms, from art studios to community organizing spaces, from entrepreneurs building brands to mothers building legacies. Women are leading the change. At the Hella Chisme podcast, we recognize that women, when they speak, culture shifts. When women create, movements grow. When women lead, sustainability becomes more than environmental. It becomes emotional, economic, and communal. This month, we celebrate the women who've paved the way, the women building right now, and the young girls watching and preparing to take up space. Support women-owned businesses, amplify women creatives, advocate for equity, listen deeply, because honoring women isn't just seasonal, it's structural. Happy International Women's Day. Happy Women's History Month. Let's make sure to celebrate and let's continue leading the change together. And welcome back to another episode of the Hella Chisme podcast. My name is Dana, and I'm your host. Today we have a guest with us. So you know that we've talked about making sure that we're highlighting artists here on the Hella Chisme podcast. So I'm excited for today's guest. Um, Hell is an artist that I found on Instagram, also known as I Came to Sin on Instagram. So we'll talk about his social medias and things on later in the episode. But I want to welcome Hell to the Hella Chisme podcast show. Welcome our guest, and we are going to bring him into the Hella Chisme community and talk about all the things today. Welcome, Hell, to the Hella Chisme podcast show.
Hey,
Usually we would have our little hand claps, so we'll still do a round of applause for welcoming you on. How are you doing? How are you feeling on this wonderful Friday afternoon?
I'm good. Just my usual, waking up, handling things, and trying to dive into some art and create some new stuff. Especially getting ready for this Comic Con show that I'm going to be going to at the end of next month.
Nice. Where is it located at?
It's going to be in Chicago, at the McCormick Place Convention Center.
Hmm.
Event is called C2E2.
Nice, nice.
Like a
Eh,
whole
They
like comic book convention, anime, all that type of stuff.
nice. And how is it over a span of a couple of days, or
Yeah, it's
how long is the
a
event?
3 day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Nice. That sounds fun. Well, I mean, and is it's in March, you said?
Yeah, March.
Wondering how the weather's going to be because we know that right now the East Coast is being hit with a lot of chilly weather, especially with all the snowstorms and all the things happening on that side of the world. But hopefully you got your big jacket ready.
Well, moving to Houston, I don't have any of that stuff anymore because I'm from Wisconsin originally, but I had been living in Memphis, Tennessee for the past like 8 years, and then I moved to Houston about a year and a half ago. So I don't got any of my winter clothes in case it's
Yeah,
too
yeah, yeah.
cold up there.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I so it's funny because I live in San Diego. The people who listen know this, but interestingly enough, it was just raining here a lot, and people in San Diego don't know how to drive in rain because obviously, which rightfully so. I won't give them too much because they don't get a lot of rain, so they probably wouldn't know how to drive in rain often. But being from the Bay Area, it rained there all the time. So I be ragging on them about like y'all need to just drive. The rain's gonna keep falling. It's gonna keep coming. Just, let's
That's what
just
I
be
noticed
lucid.
here. Like I don't drive here, but seeing like being in like Lyfts and Ubers and stuff, Houston people do they don't know how to drive in any kind of like weather that happens down here. And
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my brain, I'm
yeah.
like, when I was like 16, 17 and having to drive in weather like they made us drive in like several feet of snow, and you guys have like
Yeah,
slush here and you're freaking out, shutting down the whole city, but I
absolutely.
guess they don't know how to deal with this type of stuff when it does come because it doesn't happen often.
No, yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Well, I want to talk a little bit about you as an artist, get to know you a little bit, and I have some things that we're gonna get into, so I'm excited. But let's just tell us a little bit about the beginning, how you started as an artist, and then I know you mentioned growing up in Wisconsin and getting to Texas. Let's talk a little bit about that journey for you.
Um, Art for me started as young as I was able to hold like a pencil. My mom is an
Hmm.
artist. My grandfather loosely played like the guitar, and so there was like creative like forces around me all the time.
Hmm.
Um, Getting into, I guess this, I guess we could start with like the digital world and whatnot.
Hmm.
I think I was like 15 years old. That was back when MySpace and all that stuff was just getting started.
Hmm.
Um, I was also at that time in a band. Because of the band and meeting other local bands and other bands throughout the U.S. and stuff, they would start coming to me because I was designing my band's like merchandise or CD covers, any graphics for our MySpace and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, that slowly built up like a reputation for me, and people were coming to me to get their MySpace layouts designed, getting their merch made up, stuff like that. Um, that's what really got me into doing like art, like seriously, both like traditional and digital methods and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, when I got into it, I was like, oh, this is cool. So I can design merch for people. I can design, album covers, all that type of stuff. It wasn't until I was about, I want to say like my early 20s, mid 20s, someone I was dating at the time, they introduced me to the Bara art
Hmm.
style. I'm not sure if you're familiar
Hmm.
with that, but it's the Japanese form of like, those big, muscular, beefy, chubby looking type of
Hmm.
guys and, kind of sexual and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, let me jump into that. That looks like fun to draw.
Hmm.
But what I was really noticing was there was like a lack of representation when it
Hmm.
came to black and brown bodies, people of color. And I was like, okay, this is something I could fulfill, draw my people, give some representation.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I want to say the exact age was around like 23, 22. Uh, I went full force. That's when I created I Came to Sin. I got on
Hmm.
Tumblr, MySpace, like all that stuff. And I just started just drawing, creating art, and kind of just been doing that ever since then. I
Nice.
still do other types of art outside of I Came to Sin. I go by another
Hmm.
art moniker by
Hmm.
the name of Hales Void, and that's where all of my stuff that's not like male or portrait centered. That's where I do all my
Hmm.
other types of art and stuff. A lot of that stuff is more focused on like nostalgia, pop culture, uh,
Hmm.
just like mending these ideas that I have for things that I'm interested in. But yeah, with my art and everything, yeah, it started off as this one thing and then evolved into I Came to Sin, and I've just been kind of doing that ever since then. Trying to get the name out there, trying to get in front of new eyes and stuff so that people can see, what it is I'm doing and what I can bring to the table and everything. That journey has given me like a lot of opportunities to talk to a bunch of different people, get to know a lot of different people, a lot of the people who commissioned me and everything.
Hmm.
I end up becoming friends with some of them, and it's just awarded me and benefited me this opportunity to just get to know people and make new
Yeah.
friendships and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just still doing this.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously you're doing a very good job at it. I think one of the things that attracted me to your art is, yes, my obsession with vampires, but also I just love how cool and ethereal and methodical some of the work is, and also the representation of the queer community, and then the diversity of different body types that you draw, because it's not often represented, especially in the in the art world. And I think that's what makes you stand out, and that's what makes it really, really cool, as far as I'm concerned. I do think that one of the other things that I thought was really cool is a lot of your drawings of Duran Bernard. I don't know if you're actually friends with Duran, but I think it's really cool. A lot. He himself is super dramatic and ethereal, and just like, so he always plays with how his presence is on stage. So I thought that some of those drawings and
Yeah, I don't know
pictures are
that
really
man. I
cool.
love his music, love what he's bringing
Yeah,
to the table, the representation and everything. He, the first drawing that I did of him, um, he was very kind, very appreciative, said he really loved it. You know, he posted it all over his social medias and stuff. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
this is cool. Like, but yeah, like I don't know him, but yeah, I'm a fan of his and everything that he's
mhm.
doing and whatnot. And I drew him that second time because I was just like, oh, dude, like he just won. So I want to, show
Yeah,
praise
yeah.
and thanks to him and everything. So, but yeah, no, he's very, very, very cool.
Yeah, that's dope. So you talked a little bit about the showing up and for the bringing the queer community to the forefront in your work, and how in some of your other work you do focus on a little bit more about pop culture. Tell me a little bit about in that moment of trying to make sure that we're representing for the community and making sure bringing it to the forefront. What exactly was your thought? Was it just like, I want to do it in this medium that I think is really cool? Or was it just like, I just want to draw this, and if people like it, they like it?
I think it might be an amalgamation of different things.
Hmm.
Drawing things because I think it looks cool and hopefully other people are
Hmm.
digging it. But then also pulling a lot of that influence from, as you can see in a lot of my work, there's that little, sometimes it's very loud, sometimes it's very subtle, that dark undertone, kind of
Hmm.
otherworldly, supernaturally kind of vibe.
Hmm.
Um, that kind of lens I've always viewed the world in, and I've always been
Hmm.
fascinated by that stuff.
Hmm.
Do I believe in a lot of these different things? No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of things people get twisted with. Back in the day when I was designing like merchandise for bands, and
Hmm.
I translated into just doing portrait work of people and whatnot. They're like, "Oh, this dark Satan shit." Like, no, there's nothing new with that. I just like the dark aesthetic and imagery that comes along
Right.
with a lot of the otherworldly, supernatural kind of themes of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, for me, it was just like, I'm gonna create this thing because visually, this is what looks cool to me, and hopefully, other people,
Yeah.
gravitate towards it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was just pulling a lot of influence from like movies, TV shows, music,
Hmm.
other artists, moments in my life that I've dealt with and whatnot, and just kind of putting it all into the art and just like, hey, if you like it, come in, check it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I can feel that. I definitely can see like some of the work can be very moody. But that's art, right? I've going to art school, and also just as the years have gone by and thinking about the different things that I connect with and that I like or enjoy, um, it's always I always find it interesting, the artists that put themselves and what they feel and what they want to create forward, and how successful they become in doing that, versus and then artists um who try to gear towards the audience and how that works for them, and not to say that they're not successful, but I also think when we have more of a feeling behind the work that we're doing, it exudes through the work that we're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely when it comes to like the moods that I'm in and whatnot. Sometimes it can be really expressed through like what I'm drawing and whatnot, especially when it comes to like if I'm having some sort of like depression episode or anxiety or
Hmm.
something else that whatever is going on, it sometimes will translate through my art or the theme or idea that I'm going for or whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you talked about being in a band. Tell us a little bit about being in a band. I've always wanted to play the electric guitar. Not that I've learned how to play it yet, but would love to hear. What was that like for you? How long were you in the band? Tell us a little bit about it.
um, like the whole like I said, the art journey and stuff. When I started doing the digital stuff, started around the same time when I joined the band and everything. Around that time, I think it was like 15. I was a drummer, and I knew some people from schools or schools nearby, or just talking on MySpace to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it just started off with just hanging out with some dudes, and we were just all like jamming music and whatnot. The type of music I played was more of the extreme, like metal, death metal type of
Mm-hmm.
variety
Mm-hmm.
of genre. It really just started off just this bunch of teens playing instruments and just wanting to get
Yeah.
those emotions out and whatnot. Um, it was a cool journey because it kind of exploded. Like I said, that was around that MySpace era. So there was
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ability to connect with people instantly and book
Mm-hmm.
shows. And the band that I was in, we did a lot of touring throughout the US and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
right around like 16, 17, that's when it started to really pick up. And 17 to 18 is when we started to actually like play shows out of state in other
Mm-hmm.
cities, do little mini tours for the weekend and whatnot. That was that I think about it often because it was one of those experiences in my life where it was like one of those like highs that you're trying to chase. And
Yeah.
I feel like ever since then, because I left and disbanded from them about 26, 27, and that's
Mm-hmm.
right around the time that I was moving towards Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but being almost 40 now, I'm sitting here like, man, I miss like playing music and every
Mm-hmm.
night a new city, new faces,
Mm-hmm.
playing music for a bunch of people that showed up to like listen to your music and stuff. Like, yeah, that journey, it took me a lot of places. I got to meet a lot of people, made a lot of connections. Uh, Currently, at the moment, I'm not playing anything. I haven't played anything in like 5, 6 years or so.
Yeah.
But it is something in the back of my head where I'm like, yeah, I think I might get back into that at some point. But
Mm-hmm.
with where my body is at right now, with energy that I don't have, it's not going to be to that capacity that I used to have. But definitely want to get back into it.
Well, I mean, it's all about how it's a different type of expression, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be in front of people. It doesn't have to be going out on tour. But if I'm hearing what I'm hearing you saying is another way that you want to express yourself to be able to kind of to fulfill that other side of expression in a different artistic way, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just another creative avenue for me to
Right.
explore. Yeah.
No, yeah, I hear that. And I could and I feel that because I even in my day-to-day work, this and doing this podcast and creating the spaces that I'm working to create, this is how I feel my artistic creative expression. And then like other not too long ago, I just started sketching again. Um, because I used to design more frequently. I don't like to say I've been trying not to say that I used to be a designer because it's not left me. Um, but I've gotten back into sketching again, and then hopefully that leads to me sewing and making things again at some point. But as artists and as creatives, it's the world and how you put yourself out there sometimes tries to put you in a box and to do one thing, not realizing that there's other different ways to express and to create, and there's other interests rather than just that one that you
Yeah,
have.
that's kind of always been my problem. Like, drawing and illustration and stuff like that is my, that's one way that I mostly express myself. But
Mm-hmm.
um, music is another way. Recently getting into like writing and stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned all these different forms, and every time I come across a new one that interests me, I'm just like, damn, that's like another thing I got to learn because oh shit, there's potential there to be able to express myself in a way that I have not been able to with other things that I've done and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah.
it can be tiresome sometimes because like every time I see something cool, I'm just like, damn, I want to learn that too. Okay, let me learn how to
Yeah.
do this shit. But yeah, oh man, yeah.
Yeah, which actually is a good segue. It leads me into my next question. Um, how do you categorize that or organize that, I should say, in when there's something that you want to learn or you want to develop the art that you're doing and you need to learn this new element in order to tie it in. How do you organize that so that you're not overly exuding the energy or you're not tiring yourself out or burning yourself out.
Um, Honestly, I kind of have an obsessive personality. So like when I want to learn something, I will tire myself out trying to learn, whatever that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
From everything from, just watching how other people do it and similar
Mm-hmm.
to what I'm like envisioning in my head on how I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos, TikTok, anything that shows other people and how they're doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
then looking at pieces themselves and just kind of like studying, like, I wonder how they did that. Let me experiment and see if I can reach that same like desired effect and look and whatnot. But um, I guess I wouldn't have a piece to offer on how to
No,
not
yeah,
tire
yeah, yeah.
yourself out because like when I get into something or I want to learn something, I just go full force and just like, all
Get
right,
into it.
this is what I'm going to be doing right now and learning how to do, and I'm not going to stop until I've learned how to do it and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear you on that. So you also talked about the actual type of drawing. So you talked about you said bara is the actual type of artwork that you do. Um, Tell us how you discovered it, and then any artist that you enjoy that actually does the same type of that type of medium.
um, it started with an ex of mine.
Hmm.
They introduced me to like the whole like furry type of art, and then
Hmm.
that's when he introduced the bara stuff to me. Um, that was my early 20s ish, mid 20s.
Hmm.
Um, they just introduced it to me, and it was one of those moments where I was like, at first, like the furry stuff, like I was like, this is a little weird. Like it's like the only encounter I've ever had with the furry like community or whatever was in my teens when one of my friends had told me that her brother was looking at werewolf stuff of that, but it was like
Hmm.
they were pregnant, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like that's weird. But then I started to learn more about it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this shit's cool." People will be making these like, what are they called? The fursonas, and
Yep.
these identities evolved
Hmm.
around that. And then when I saw the bar stuff, I was like, "Oh, cool." There's a bunch of like big, chubby, beefy men that are being shown in this way that it's not really being shown anywhere else. I was like, "This is really cool. I want to get into this." But
Hmm.
yeah, after he introduced me to that stuff, my brain just went. It was another example of having obsession. Where I was just like,
Hmm.
oh no, yeah, no, I have to learn how to do this. I have to learn how to, draw
Yeah.
these guys and do all this type of stuff because this is what I want to do. This would
Yeah,
be fun.
yeah.
This is my lane. But yeah, it was an ex of mine showed me it, and then ever since then I've just been hooked on the whole art of bara and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. And so on this show, we talk about vampires a lot. I have me and so I don't know if you've ever me and my brother did an episode about vampires. A whole thing. And we know that vampires are often portrayed as super seductive and perfect and things like that, and hyper idealized. But I feel like your work and how you portray them makes them, yes, in the same light, but also super really cool and fun at the same time. Tell me about like your thoughts behind it and how you feel when you're creating the artwork with the whole vampire aesthetic and things like that.
So I love vampires, vampire anything, vampire media. Like I consume it, the lore, mythology that's like all over the world when it comes to vampires and stuff.
Hmm.
I I don't know what else to really say, but that I just love vampires. Like when someone gives me a chance to sit down and talk about vampires, it gets me going and like and I can't stop and whatnot. But uh what really like piqued my interest was a lot of the Anne Rice writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um I remember reading Interview with the Vampire in high school because she dropped that book in I think the late 70s or whatever.
Hmm.
But looking back on it now, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have been reading that at 17, like this type of stuff or whatever. But like when I read that, that's when I became like truly obsessed with the whole idea because I like the way that she was showcasing kind of like those queer undertones when it comes to
Hmm.
vampires and whatnot. The whole idea of like grappling with immortality, emotions, and feelings, and like trying to just cope with the longevity of what your life is now because you're an immortal being
Hmm.
and whatnot. And then also the whole aspect of blood and everything like that.
Yeah.
What comes to mind too is also the that opening scene for Blade in the Blood
Yeah.
Rave.
Yep.
I think about that all the time. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but there's this part of me that's like, man, I really want to be in a rave room, just blood coming down and then Wesley Snipes coming up through here and whatnot. But um, I don't know, vampirism and all of that and the mythology behind it. It's just one of those things that like I think it's kind of like with people who are obsessed with like superheroes and
Yeah.
superpowers and stuff.
Yep.
I just like the whole a being with immense power and you get to live forever. You get to do all these great things, but there's that one hindrance of like, but you got to drink a little bit of blood to keep it going. Otherwise,
Yeah.
XYZ will happen to you or whatever. But yeah, Anne Rice was that big jump for me. And then that's when I think as the what was it, mid 2000s all the way till now, that vampire resurgence of media popping in and out, it started to fuel more of that for me. So like True Blood,
Yeah.
Vampire Diaries, hell, even Twilight. Like I know people
Yeah.
like to talk shit about Twilight, but it's one of those guilty pleasures of mine where I'm like, I can watch those movies over and over and over and over and never get tired of it. But what I see in it and the stuff that I draw, I try to take from bits and pieces of things that I've seen, but then I try to add like my own, I guess, view on it and whatnot, and the lens that
Right.
I have for what I think would make a hot vampire and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which goes hand in hand with that what I was saying earlier about discovering different avenues of being able to express creative um, energy within me. So that's
Hmm.
why I've been also working on writing and in the form of a novel, but also a comic book. And I've never done any of those things before, so like that is, in itself is a learning curve.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, a lot of that stuff, vampires and stuff, has been a big thing in my life. And like you said, like when you look at some of my work, you can see some of those like vampiric aspects, even stuff that's not meant to be like a vampire drawing. There's certain
Right.
little things that I'll add in there. I'm like, well, no, it's kind of a little bit. There's a little bit of it in there, but not not
Yeah.
fully or whatever. But yeah, I love vampires. Everything vampires,
Yeah.
especially with the new Interview with the Vampire TV series.
Yes.
It's
10 out of 10.
It's
10 out
so
of
good.
10.
And then everything that they've done with the changes, because I'm a big fan of the books. I've read all, I think it's 15 books.
Oh
Uh,
my.
so when they did all the changes with like, making Louis black, Claudia black,
Mm-hmm.
changing some of the
Mm-hmm.
different aspects from the books to the show, like everything is just perfect. Like
Yeah.
I wish other people who are making TV shows and movies and stuff in Hollywood, they would take notes from like this is how you do an interpretation from a book to live media type of thing or whatever. But
Yeah.
Interview the Vampire, I'm so excited for season 3. Can't wait
Yes.
to see what we're going to get into with that, especially with Lestat, because I just love a good crash out queen.
Yes. Lestat is a crash out queen, and the actor that plays him is doing a fantastic job with his character.
Oh yeah, Sam
Um,
Reed. Sam Reed is very like, for me, even with all the changes they've done, watching him perform and do the whole thing, it
mhm.
makes me feel like, damn, it's like Lestat was just ripped from the books, put onto a
Yeah.
show and whatnot, and just like he's excellent. And same with Jacob Anderson, like his
Yes.
portrayal of Louis is just like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it also helps too that that man is fine as hell. So
Yes, yeah. And
yeah.
if you would have told me that he would have came from Game of Thrones, the character that he played on Game of Thrones, to be in on a full-time show like Interview with the Vampire, I would have never guessed that. And
See, like
he was,
with Jacob Anderson, I my first memory of him was from this TV show called Skins. You ever see that one?
mm-mm,
It was like the British version before Euphoria became a thing. That
mm-hmm.
that was their Euphoria. Like they did that so Euphoria could come up, come into light. But
Wow.
I remember seeing him in that. But when I saw him in Game of Thrones, I was like, wait, he was in. I did not see that happening. Okay, cool. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they
Mm-hmm.
started doing the rollout for Interview with the Vampire, and I saw him in it, I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
like, okay, this is cool. It's cool. I'm into this. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, I can't wait
he's
for season 3, especially with Lestat and his crashing out. I'm hoping they're gonna finally, at some point, if they're following the books or whatever, give us a little more teaser into uh, the woman who's gonna be playing Akasha, because that's
yes.
with Aaliyah doing her portrayal, and it was perfect. Everything was amazing about
Yeah.
that. It's gonna be cool to see someone else step into those shoes and see what they're gonna deliver with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love I love that show. I think it's really, really dope. And I too am curious to see where is it gonna go in this next season. I think I have a couple of we finished season 2. So I'm excited to see where we're about to go from here with the show because it is definitely amazing. Especially like, all of the years like you've talked about already, Twilight, True Blood, Vampire Diaries, and now with us we had like I would say about 3 or 4 years of a break of vampire series and shows and movies, and then they hit us with Interview with the Vampire. So they're doing a great job of making up for the time lost on a very, very good vampire series and
And
story.
honestly, like when it comes to the vampire community, I'll consume anything and everything is good. Like, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something, like I said, about Anne Rice and her vampires that just it's just like this blueprint for me now. When I think about
Mm-hmm.
vampires, I'm like, well, her vampires, that's how I want it done. Like
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
emotional aspect and dealing with your feelings and shit, and just like, and on top of that, you're stupid powerful. Like
Mm-hmm.
just such a good mesh of everything. And like I said, with those changes that they've done to the show, it
Mm-hmm.
just adds on top of it that makes it just perfect. But
I love that.
don't get me
I love
started.
that.
Like I can't wait to see season 3.
So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the medium that you create in. So we talked about you working your work in the bara, but how do you what's your um do you use digital illustration? What medium do you usually create in? I see the paint and the paintbrushes behind you. So, but What do you prefer and what do
Um,
you usually create in?
I prefer both. I've gotten that question a few times from other people. Primarily, it is digital because it's a little more accessible and easier to
Mm-hmm.
just produce something. But there's a lot of pros to digital or traditional mediums and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the aspect of digital because it's just all in one hand. Like you can create whatever you want. It's all right there in your
Mm-hmm.
hand.
Mm-hmm.
Versus
Mm-hmm.
doing something traditional, you're just like, okay, now I got to figure out what am I going to use. Am I going to use paint? Am I going to use markers? Am I going to use whatever? And
Yeah.
what am I going to do it on? Is it going to be canvas? Is it going to be paper? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like both. For a while, I was doing sketches in a sketchbook, and then I would scan that into the computer, and then I would uh, ink it, draw over it in digital medium and Photoshop and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. Like I said, it's the both of those things. I like them both
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's certain
yeah.
times that certain moods or feelings that'll come across that I'm like, all right, this piece needs to be something that I need to draw like on paper, and this will
Mm-hmm.
be what I want to do. Versus other times, I'm like, okay, this drawing I could do on the iPad or whatever, and get out what I want to make. But yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoy both.
That's cool. I mean, I envy that. I've thought about taking a digital illustration class. I have not yet, but by the time I was done with fashion school and everything, I was literally at that mark where I could have started taking it, but didn't. But I envy everybody who can take their work and then go and put it in a digital form and still create. I even follow some folks on TikTok. They go live and that's all they do on their live all day long. It's a skill and it's a very cool skill to have for sure.
Yeah, like that painting back there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like painting too. Painting's one of those mediums too that I'm still learning it. But like I said, with my obsessiveness of learning something, when I start a
Mm-hmm.
painting, like I can't stop. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
like how they say like, just walk away, and then come back to it. When I start a painting, I'm like, no, I gotta finish this or I gotta just focus on this and do this as long as I can until I cannot touch it anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
there's something in it that I guess kind of each thing brings a certain feeling or whatnot. Like when I'm doing paintings, it makes me feel very uh like an artist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh man, like I feel like the old time dudes and stuff that were like painting big murals and stuff and whatnot. But
Yeah.
the same thing with like digital, like it feels very powerful to have like an iPad and like I can create whatever I want. I can draw and do whatever I want. Like it's
Yeah.
all right here in my hands. But yeah, like I said, each thing has its pros, and it just each thing is enjoyable for me. So like every time I see a new medium or something to try to get into, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah. 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 So when you think about like from like your earliest work and you think about now, what was some of the shifts for you and what would you say how your art and how the your art identity has evolved over time?
um, when it comes to like the I guess the male centered illustrations that I do, when I started off, like there was a big thing that I was doing with the white eyes and
Mm-hmm.
no visible pupil or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just pulling from that idea of just like some powerful being, and you know how they portray that in like cartoons, anime, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Someone with like just one colored eye, and like that usually a symbolism for power or some sort of ability or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for a while, I was doing that, and a lot of my recent works, I've kind of strayed away from it, but I've done it in a different way versus just a big white spot in their eye or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know. For me, it was just I think the I've definitely gotten better. because I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
this series on Instagram where I'll revisit old drawings and I'll redraw
Mm-hmm.
it to see, where I'm at
The
right now.
difference. Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can see that like I've gotten a lot more detailed,
Mm-hmm.
a lot more clarity in some of my stuff, better understanding of shit like that. It looks a little wonky. Like I don't know why I
Mm-hmm.
drew it like that, but yeah, I could definitely see the transition in I guess clarity, um, visual wise, like the thing that I'm seeing in my head and seeing that okay, yeah, I did get it out of my head. I did, put it onto the canvas and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the other big change is I feel like a lot of my stuff now versus like 10 years ago, I feel like there's more, I don't know, for me, it feels like I could see more emotion and feeling
Yeah.
and like thought was put into the thing that I made and whatnot versus some of my old drawings. It was just like, I'm just drawing a half naked dude just to draw them. But versus
Yeah.
now I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it is kind of sexy and a little suggestive, but like
Mm-hmm.
there's aspects to it. Like pay attention, look at it. You can kind of see some storytelling going on and whatnot.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, amazing. And you can definitely tell, which we'll get into some of that later when we kind of do our little, I mean, I don't know if I should call it virtual art gallery, but it's fine. We'll call it whatever we want. We'll do whatever we want with it. Um, we're going to let's take a little break and we'll come right back and we'll jump back into the conversation.
All right.
All right. And we are back. Um, so we've talked a lot about just you as an artist, some of the work that you do, things that inspire you. Let's talk about like process. Uh, I think as artists and as creatives, sometimes, process can be however we decide it to be. I know that I'm like I'm a stickler about time frames. I'm a stickler about, just like how it was like, oh, I have an outline for the show. But that's just me and also my human resource brain, because I feel like I always have to be organized and I always have to have like an outline and things jotted down or written down. That's me and um my ability of always wanting to be in control. But what does the process usually look like for you when it comes to creating an art piece or starting a submission for a client or working with a client in general? What does that always look like for you as far as process goes?
Um, hold on. I'm sorry. One second. Stop. Stop. I'm sorry. She is getting into stuff she shouldn't be. But
No
for
worries.
me, that process is um, usually talking with the person. If they have an
Mhm.
idea uh, or some sort of theme or something they're trying to go for. I try to decipher that. Like, what is it that they're trying to visualize? Because they're coming to me. They obviously like the artwork that I do. So
Right.
I want to see if they have some idea in their mind that they're like, oh, this idea would be cool if he did this. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out, what they're trying to go for. Usually it starts with like, conversation, talking about the piece, whatever it is that they want. Then it goes into the actual creative mode. For me, my longest process is sketching
Hmm.
because for me, I like to sit down and try to come up with the idea and like the
Hmm.
skeletons of everything. Because then once I have the skeleton of it, then I know where I need to go forward.
Hmm.
But the sketch process for me just takes forever because like that's my um what's the word I'm picking through and
Yeah.
trying to figure out the
Yeah.
elements that I want, what I don't want, what I'm seeing in my head, if I can actually visualize it out onto the canvas and whatnot. But yeah, for
Hmm.
me, it's just talking with the person, trying to figure out what they want if I'm doing commission work and whatnot, and
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
just going into the process of sketching and whatnot. You want like the detailed breakdown of like,
Yeah, if you want to share just a little bit of tidbits of that, that sounds good to me. I think it also just helps. just talking through like what that process looks like for you. And then people listening, I think it gives them some context when working with other artists or if they ever reach out for commissions, just to kind of
Right.
understand the every artist and every person that's creating something is different. And it does take time, and like for instance, I had somebody reach out to me who wanted me to make them a denim skirt. They didn't want just like a regular denim skirt. They wanted a denim skirt. It had asymmetrical cut. They wanted raw edges. They wanted this type of stitching. They wanted fully detailed. But I'm like, okay, I can do that, but I need this amount of time to first, I need to sketch it out, draw what it's going to look like. Then I need to create the pattern that goes along with that. And then I need your measurements so then I can make sure that it fits you correctly. And then once we get all of that, then I need to actually make it. And then I need some time just in case I make some mistakes and fuck it
Yeah,
up.
that's pretty much the same when it comes to, for me, I don't know how other artists are, but for me it's kind of the same thing where after we've discussed, whatever the project is, then
Hmm.
like that's the creation of the project now. Like now
Right.
I'm sketching it, and sketching it is going to take like a while because I'm going through several different sketches and trying to come up with the solid piece of the idea. Then you get
Right.
into, like, for me, my next process is usually inking the piece. So I go
Hmm.
through and black line work, get the bones and everything detailed out, and then that's when I go into
Hmm.
coloring. I think coloring too is kind of the next longest process for me because now I'm trying to figure out visually, like, how am I going to make this all look good together? If there's like a
Right.
background, if there's a big old theme that I'm drawing to it all, like how lighting is going to work. And that's another thing too, because like, I'm creating something from nothing. So like, I have to make this all happen and make it look all good and cohesive and everything. So for me, yeah, like it's just uh talking stage, getting into the creation
Hmm.
stage, so sketching, then getting into the inking, then getting into the coloring, and then like the final step for me usually is just like polishing and adding any extra little tiny details or
Yeah.
um, color editing and stuff like that. But yeah, there are some people that you do get, whether you're an artist or someone who makes clothing and whatnot, that you'll get those people here and there that are like, well, you were paid yesterday, it should have been done in a day. It's like, no, this is going to take a little bit of time to flesh out and get made and everything. And then there's those super understanding commissioners who are like, look, you're creative, you're doing what you need to do, just go ahead and do what you need to do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
bother
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
those are
No.
my favorites.
Yeah. No. I've already look. Your spot for the one that I've already reached out for is on that wall. When they get
Yeah,
here, it'll be here.
right.
And I know, and I get it, right? Like, I also, we can even take it out of the space of talking about art and doing and commissions, even when it comes to we can have a conversation about what consistency looks like and what that means to different people. I did a live episode with Ryan Out Loud and Mike, who's on the Art of Letting Go podcast, and we touched on the consistency conversation, but we didn't really dive into it. But my reason of bringing that up is consistency looks different for everybody. Everybody's process is different. I think when earlier you talked about like kind of chasing after that high of being out there, meeting different people and touring and things like that. And I think when we think about today and consumerism and how much people want something new on a constant, we have to also think that there are people who are absolutely who want to create and who do create, but are absolutely not looking to try and create for those people who consistently need to feel something new and experience something different all the time. That's not fair to artists. That's not fair to creatives. That's not fair. That's not a fair box to put us in. especially when we're trying to create something thoughtful and something that's intentional that people will enjoy.
I think the people who come to us as creatives to get something made or whatever, um, they don't realize, especially with how today everything is so fast and
Mm-hmm.
consumerism and all that stuff. Like everything is just kind of instant for you. That when
Mm-hmm.
you come to someone with some sort of artistry and skill that you're trying to acquire,
Yep.
they they don't take into account like this isn't something you just order on Amazon and you're getting it the next
Right.
day. Like this
Right.
is a creative, artistic process that's going to take some time, effort and
Yep.
energy to get into. And I think what they also don't realize too is that today with artists and people who are creative, like there's the social media aspect of it all. You're
Right.
also trying to run your whole brand and run your
Yep.
pages and focus on like numbers and algorithms and trying to
Yep.
combat with that shit sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole process of like when you are your own brand, yes, you are working on this thing for a person, but you are
Mm-hmm.
one person also having to take
Mm-hmm.
care of this, your social media, working on new, like for me, new art that I got to put out and stuff that I
Yep.
got to keep my social medias keep going and whatnot. So like
Yep.
I don't think they don't take into account most of the time that like we are just one person most of the time, and like there's a lot more behind the scenes that happens on top of you being your own person and your own life and everything else that goes on with it. So like you got to take it. Um, you got to come into this thing and realize like they are just one person and they are not.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to have some grace.
Yeah, and you're touching on something that I that is actually perfect for the next segue because I think that as entrepreneurs, I think the idea is that as an artist, I don't think people really realize the entrepreneurship that's behind that because you do have to run all of your businesses and you do have to run all of that shit. And a lot of that is a lot of fucking work on its own. So, talk a little bit about, let's dive a little bit deeper into that because I think it's important to put that out there. You know, first of all, what are all the things that you're working on? And then let's then talk about then on top of that, then the commissions that come in for you. What is that like, and how do you keep track of all of it?
uh, um, Honestly, every day I'm working on like several different projects for different things. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, right now I'm working on the new shop layout and design for my online shop. I
Mm-hmm.
am working on redesigning my logo. I
Mm-hmm.
am working on creating product and stuff right now for the shop. On top of
Mm-hmm.
that, creating product for the um, on top of that, working on other illustrations so that way I can keep the social media flow going and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
keeping eyes on me and everything. Working on people's commissions and whatnot. For me, like the organization behind it all is like I know for you, you said you like to have like control and like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this. For me, it's just sporadic and chaotic
Mm-hmm.
because that's what works for me. Like especially like when I'm like in a, I mean, you can kind of see from my space right here, like it's just chaos. But for me, that works. When I have it like too organized, it starts to feel. It takes me out of that creative like mindset and element. Because now I'm like, this is work or this is like a some sort of like brick and mortar desk job and whatnot. Like I need a little bit of that
Mm-hmm.
chaos because it I don't know, it envelops me in this like creative bubble
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, okay, I know where everything is. I know how this all works.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna work for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like it especially when it comes to like commissions or other projects, other things that I have to do, I try to find the best way I can to divide myself amongst all of those things every single day. But like every
Mm-hmm.
single day, like I'm usually creating or working on several different things at once. So like
Yeah.
there'll be like one, let's say if I'm working on one commission, I'll stop that for like a few minutes. I'll go to work on another one, or I'll
Mm-hmm.
jump on the computer and work on some of the products and stuff that I'm making. And it just, that's kind of like what my process and flow is like every day, just tackling it all and just trying to give a little bit of myself each time to each of those things, especially with
Yeah.
all that I mentioned on top of working on my comic book, working on the novel that I'm writing, and just trying to find the best way to divide myself amongst it all.
Yeah, and I mean I think on top of all of that, you've also mentioned social media. And in a world where social media, if you don't got it, it's you're not promoting yourself. How has that felt for you trying to just doing that, being an artist and doing your best to make sure to hit that algorithm? I know that, I've had my own challenges. I actually just had my meeting with my podcast producer who helps me with all the visual aspects of the show and stuff. And I was just like, we've been doing this for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years this summer, and I'm just now hitting the TikTok algorithm. And I was like, it took almost 2.5 years for me to get to the place where I'm actually starting to get some natural likes without having to press the promote button or without having to spend money on marketing, where I'm just now starting to hit the algorithm. So tell what has been your experience with that, and how's that been for you?
Um, it's been hell, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my traffic or flow comes from Instagram, and with the algorithm and stuff like that, it feels like it's always like against me instead of working with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I know recently, I'm pretty sure I'm shadow banned on Instagram.
Mm.
Um, so like my reach in the numbers that I was doing is not what I'm currently doing. I'm used to
Wow.
like average wise, numbers wise, each post getting like several hundred likes, my stories getting
Yeah.
several hundred views, versus now like if I'm lucky if I can break like 50, 100 likes, maybe 20 views
Wow.
on my videos. So I'm like, I know it's not me. Like I know they're
Yeah.
they're they're doing whatever they do that doesn't push my content out there anymore.
Right.
I've had run into the issue with some of my content being like flagged and whatnot, but the thing is, like, I purposely draw in a way that I'm not going too far outside of their guidelines or restrictions and whatnot. So I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
know it's not me. Like, I'm not showing like full on nude illustrations and whatnot. And it just
Mm-hmm.
puzzles me because I look at other accounts and stuff, especially ones who are popular. And I'm just like, how are they getting away with this? But when I do it, it's a problem. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, yeah, it's been a constant battle of trying to uh, find a way that can work with their algorithm, whatever social media that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like yeah, with like Instagram, it's just been I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I honestly don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And I think a lot of it now too is that people are looking for that quick,
Yep.
um, 10-second video that they can watch and whatnot.
Yep.
So I've been trying to work on that too, making more like process videos and trying to build up the nerve to make like videos involving my face into it and what I create and what I do and whatnot. But the algorithm is a bitch, and
It is. It
and
is.
trying to combat with it is just it's been very frustrating because I'm like I want to do this naturally and have people gravitate towards me. I don't want to have
Yeah.
to purchase any sort of promotional
Yeah.
things or whatever.
Yeah.
I just want it to happen natural. Right now, I've been because for a while I was like daily posting 3 to 4 new illustrations every single day, and I
Mm-hmm.
got burnt out from it. I was just like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Like this is too
Yeah.
much for
Yeah.
me. So what I've been finding is that if I take a little break, like a few days to maybe a week, and then go and post stuff, it seems like the reach that I can get is a little bit more now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it was just crazy because they tell you to consistently post. and they,
Right.
do 2 to 3 posts per day. And
Right.
when I do that, my numbers it don't match up. But when I space it out and I'm like, I take a week off and then I come back and post a bunch of new stuff, then the numbers
Hmm.
kind of hit and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
trying to find those avenues that to see what's working for other people and whatnot. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still trying
Yeah.
to trying to figure that part out because everything that I'm doing, I feel like, damn, like okay, I burnt myself out with trying to create every day, but then that didn't work. But if I stop, this kind of works. But people are kind of wanting to see you every day, especially to keep,
Yeah.
your brand in their mind and whatnot. You want to keep posting so that way it stays that consistent flow, so people are still coming to you and shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
No, I mean, 100% agree and understand and in the same boat. Like, it's crazy how much you have to put into it for you to even just hit the algorithm at the right time. I've had a bunch of different not trainings, but I've sat in on conversations about SEO and shit like that for content creating and stuff. But, I think what it boils down to when you're trying to naturally reach an audience, it's just that people are just going to find you when they find you. It's something that I'm also learning. But I'm also learning that, like you're saying, there's no secret sauce to this. There's
Yeah,
nothing that we're not doing. We're doing, I feel like everything we're supposed to be doing.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to realize and give myself grace is just to realize like I'm doing all that I can do. I can't fight
Mm-hmm.
the system and what they're doing and
Mm-hmm.
how they try to limit what people are seeing and whatnot. Because I get consistent messages like, "Dude, I have not seen any of your posts. Like, I'm just now seeing this one. Like, I used to see your stuff all the time, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, you
Yeah.
just have to manually come to my page and see when I've updated
Yep.
something because now that reach is just it's not getting out there anymore. So,
Yeah.
which makes it hard as doing this as a full time thing when you're not getting that reach, kind of affecting your pockets and shit. So,
Yep.
um, I've been trying to do what I can to combat that. I'm working on some new things and whatnot that I think could maybe help, but those are still kind of in the idea planning stages and whatnot. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I hear you on that. So let's take one more break and then we'll come back and we'll look at some artwork. If you've made it this far in this episode and you haven't subscribed yet, that's wild. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, tap in everywhere, child. Because apparently the algorithm only respects consistency and emotional damage. And to my professional doom scrollers out there, girl, yes, I'm talking to you. If you can scroll for 47 minutes and not press the subscribe button, we can have a full conversation on how you need to go ahead and dedicate yourself to something, girl, because it sounds like you got some dedication issues. Help us beat the algorithm, girl. Like, comment, share, send it to your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your lady friends, your they, them friends. The ones who love the chit chat about all the tea but never really want to start that podcast. Because I want them in my comment box. Don't just watch the Cheesemate, join the Cheesemate, girl. Subscribe, follow, and stay connected, honey, because we building something cute up over here and we want you to be a part of it. Yeah. And we are back. So I'm excited. We're going to talk about some of your work. For the folks that are watching, you'll be able to see the artwork. For the folks that are listening, we'll describe what's happening. And then if you go back or go follow Hell on his social media, you can see some of the work that we're talking about. Or go watch it on YouTube where I post all the full episodes. But I'm going to share my screen and we're gonna dive into talking about some of the work that you have done. I want to talk about this one first. It gives very Stargate. I don't remember the actor's name, but I do specifically remember him in the show and always thinking, I always loved his definition in his face. and used to think he was very handsome. But I don't remember the actor's name, but I do remember the show that he was on. But tell us a
Christopher
little bit
Judge.
of, huh?
Christopher Judge. I know him too
Christopher
well.
Judge. Tell us a little bit about this piece. Obviously the inspiration and things behind it.
So outside of vampires, sci-fi is another like big thing that I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Stargate is one of those TV series that I am wildly obsessed with.
Mm-hmm.
It's currently not on air, but it's been going for almost like 20 plus years of lore and
Mm-hmm.
stuff from the TV series. But Christopher Judge, this particular character, Teal'c, um, was just for obvious reasons. Like I found him attractive, like this,
Mm-hmm.
big brooding man, and like the way he delivers lines on the show, he's very kind of not nonchalant, but kind of like stoic and just serious all the time and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
just stature wise, everything about him, I was just like, man, this man is sexy. Like I want to draw him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Stargate is one of those TV series that I'm wildly obsessed with, and I was just like, yeah, I need to draw this character.
Have you seen the new one? There's a new one out. My husband's obsessed with it lately. And it's supposed to be very queer focused and as well, this currently.
You talking about new Stargate?
I think so. I think that's what it's called. I also admittedly am not very good with the with which one's which. Because there's also
Right
Star Trek.
now, from what I've heard, that they have gathered the rights and they are filming and gonna do a whole new TV series
Mm,
based in, I believe it's London.
mm,
Um, I'm not sure what they're gonna do with the story. I know it's supposed to be a continuation of the franchise and whatnot, but
mm.
uh, even though with little knowledge of what's going on, just the fact that they're gonna bring it back, I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this piece I actually chose because I feel like it goes back to the conversation that we were having earlier about redrawing some of the work that you've done in the past, which I read that this one was one of those. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Um, that piece, that's the current 20, what is that, 2025 version.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I drew that originally 10 years ago, that was kind of I think one of the first illustrations that I had did for I Came to Sin. There was like, I
Mm-hmm.
think like six of them that I did that were kind of like my first basis of illustrations for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was just, I think I was thinking about a few different guys when I was drawing that.
Mm-hmm.
Very kind of like Keegan Michael Key,
Mm.
Common, bald
Mm.
headed, light skinned dudes
Yeah, I could
with
see
big
it with the
with big beards
beards.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my fashion, doing the whole, tattooed up kind of thing and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was just one of those attempts that I was doing with just trying to redraw something that I did, years ago and whatnot to see how it turned out. But
I mean,
yeah, who's it?
I feel like you can definitely see the transition of the tattoos and how uh like I mean the tattoos first of all look ridiculously good in all of them to me. I can also though see like the difference between this one and then it just seems a little bit more almost cleaner between the two. But they both look really, really cool and really, really dope. I
Yeah, like
just
the original one, I was doing that thing with the eyes and whatnot, and it was supposed to be like this kind of ethereal being that's just chilling down, being sexy or whatever. Uh,
mm-hmm.
the newer one, I kind of switched it up a little bit with the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
to make it a little more subtle, but you can still see like there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that effect from that they were doing with the eyes in Sinners,
Yep.
where it was like that little like glare that kind of shines through and whatnot. That's kind of what I was aiming for.
Yeah. It's dope. I mean, It's really really cool. I also did see the one that you did for Sinners with Michael B. Jordan. I saw a couple of them. I was like,
Yeah.
sickening. Love that. So this kind of goes into kind of the vampire part that conversation that we were having earlier. Tell us a little bit about this one.
So this one is very obvious, it's a
Hmm.
vampire, whatever. Um, I was thinking about, the idea of like, the obsession that vampires have with blood and whatnot. I'm like, so what are some other ideas or things that they could be obsessed with and whatnot outside of,
Hmm.
um, kind of a moment that I kind of pulled from real life,
Hmm.
um, that deals with someone very dear to me that is actually my ex.
Oh,
Um, very a real lived through moment that I was replaying in my head,
love
and I
that.
kind of wanted to like redraw it and uh, do a vampiric spin on it and whatnot. So that's kind of how this came to be. And
Dope.
I'm
Dope.
not like a foot person at all, but
Hmm.
I would say with like an ex of mine, he was one of those people that I was like, okay, I'm into this.
I love it. I love it. Um, and so I also wanted to definitely make sure that to touch on just how I love the fact that you also draw and include different people with different body types and things like that. While yes, telling us a little bit about your inspiration behind this, also share um what makes you want to make sure that we are showcasing different folks and different body types and like that, just making sure to showcase body positivity in the work that you do as well.
um, well, coming from being a big boy and whatnot, like I've always wanted to showcase that in my art. That like no matter what the mainstream says, no matter what social media is saying, and no matter any of those stupid fat phobic views that a lot of gay men have and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to highlight and showcase that like no matter what body type you're at, you can be sexy, and especially for the big boys, like um undoubtedly like you're sexy, period. Like there's no questioning over here, there's no fake like yeah, body positivity, but only for certain types of people. Like for
Right.
me, it's truly like I love big boys. I love the way they look.
Mm-hmm.
I love extra flabs of skin. I love the stretch marks. All the extra
Mm-hmm.
folds and stuff. Like for me, it's just this thing of just I want to showcase that, and I want to showcase it in a way that doesn't feel um what's the word, like performative.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
Yep.
I want it to be authentic. Like this is like everything I draw is visually what I find appealing, and
Yeah.
the different body types that I draw, I find them all appealing. Whether
Yeah.
you're, stick thin or very robust big man, like for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's all good to me. So yeah, this piece was definitely one of those moments uh, where I was also kind of in a love thing in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to draw like two guys in love and just showcasing that no matter the body type, it can all exist there.
Have you ever had any people reach out and say, thank you for showcasing di us different in different ways and different aspects, or just making sure to, make it a part of the work that you do?
Yeah, I every day, honestly, if I go through my messages, there's something there from somebody that are like, thank you for drawing what you draw. Like it's cool seeing like myself in this type of art and stuff because you don't really get to
Mm-hmm.
see it much anywhere. And I was
Yeah.
like, the moments like that for me are just like what kind of keep me going.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. This is the response I wanted from people to feel like they're included, that they can visualize themselves in a space that often just does not cater to that. And if
Yeah.
they do, no disrespect to any other artists and whatnot, but a lot of artists that I see draw people of color and whatnot, it ends up coming off very like fetishy
Mm,
and very
mm-hmm,
just like it's just very weird and just a little bit uncomfortable. And like when you look at the body of their work, it
mm-hmm,
predominantly does not showcase any men of color. And when they do
mm-hmm.
draw a man of color, it's just very like I don't know, just feels very I don't know what the word is, maybe misplaced or just doesn't feel right.
Like it doesn't fit in with everything they've done before. And
Right.
it's, you know, it,
It
it
seems like
it's
you're trying
like,
to show face and like I got to draw someone of color now so I can feel like I'm fitting in with everybody versus like just seeing the beauty in a person and drawing it and whatnot. But I don't know. For
yeah,
me, it's obvious when I go to an artist's page and they don't really showcase a lot of people of color. It just kind of for me tells me a lot about that person or whatever. But for me, I was just like, nah, I want to showcase that full front and show people that this is coming from a genuine place, not some weird fetish place or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I can definitely say I appreciate that you definitely show the different body types. You know, you still have the body types in the men and the aesthetic that you enjoy, but also making that this is also, you know, of enjoyment and you think is beautiful too. And I think that's amazing. And I love that you showcase it in your work for sure. Um, let's talk about this one. I thought this one was really, I love this piece because I love that even though it is still in the aesthetic that you create in, it's also still kind of gives a different mood and a different vibe from everything else. It also still kind of has a love story behind it and also a cultural aspect behind it as well. So tell us a little bit about this one.
This was a commission piece that I got from Panji. You can see his URL there. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been cool with these guys for a long time. Like Trey on the right, he has purchased shirts from me,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they both have been amazingly like supportive towards my art and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they had he commissioned me. This was actually a combination of two different commissions. Uh, he commissioned me to draw him on the left,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another drawing that I did of his partner on the right. And I was like, hey, I
Wow.
have this idea. I kind of want to combine both of your guys' commissions into one piece and whatnot, because
Mm-hmm.
both pieces were the theme was their cultural background and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and they gave me very specific details to some of the items that they're wearing, the clothing that they wear and whatnot, and wanted to stay true to showing that pride and what they're trying to represent and whatnot. But
Yeah.
uh, also when I combined the two, I wanted to feel like these are two guys who are together, but showcasing their cultural backgrounds and stuff. But this
Right.
one was really fun actually. Like I got to do what I usually do, but kind of give a softer view of that while still
Mm-hmm.
keeping true to like what I try to showcase in most of my stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And it shows. And I again, you know, appreciate just the how you make a decision to be creative in different ways and to make sure to still highlight whether it's the client or whether it's what you find dope in that piece or whether it's just it's something that you were inspired by. And I feel like it showcases in everything that I've seen that you do, and it's really really dope.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Um, so we are at the end. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about, um, you talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the episode, but tell us a little bit about the GoFundMe that you currently have, what you're looking to do, and what's the goal?
you. So I started this GoFundMe to help aid in getting me to my first artist alley, which is going to be at
Mhm.
C2E2 March 27th through the 29th. Um, this was my first time being accepted into an artist alley event. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I had been applying for years now and just never got picked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and I had applied to C2E2 this year, and I didn't think I was going to get
Mm-hmm.
selected me, and I was like, oh shit, like this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But with the current climate of the world and jobs and everything, like I was just like, I'm not going to be able to make this happen. So I
Yeah.
started the GoFundMe to see if people would want to help aid in supporting me and getting to the event and whatnot. On top of
Mm-hmm.
the other necessities of like paying for the flight, the hotel, and all that stuff.
Yep.
Because right now I can't do it alone. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and also aiding and helping with getting merchandise and materials. That way, when I come there, I'll have stuff to sell and showcase and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the GoFundMe is just kind of there to try to help aid in getting to my first event because this
Mm-hmm.
is going to be kind of like the catalyst for me branching out into the outside world versus being behind a screen and posting art online and whatnot. I
Yeah.
want to do more of these events and artist alleys and comic book conventions and stuff to really just push myself out there into the art world and be in front of a bunch of new faces and people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of my friends is actually doing the event with me. We're going to be splitting a table,
Mm-hmm.
and he's another Black queer artist, and he does these events several times a year. And
Mm-hmm.
like I've been learning a lot from him. So like seeing him and other people do this type of stuff, I'm just like, this is what I want to do. Like I want to get out there
Mm-hmm.
and go to these markets and these events and showcase my art and the things that I bring to the table, and hopefully gather some new friends and faces and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's dope. I mean, it's you start to realize, how people that support your work want to see you win. They want to see you be a part of these things. They want to see you excel. And I'm excited for you, and I know you will get there. And I'm hoping that that means, it means bigger things and whatever more things that you want to do. So that's going to be dope. Well, tell the people where they can find and follow you, which I'll also put in the description at the bottom, so that they can go and find you on social media.
Um, the big umbrella, so you can go to everything at once. Just go to icametosin.com and
Mm-hmm.
it'll showcase all of my social media links to the various platforms, to my web store, and to the GoFundMe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I usually operate out of Instagram the most. So if you want to
Mm-hmm.
reach out there or browse my stuff, that's kind of the best place to go right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see some art that is outside of sexy guys, go to Hale's Void on Instagram, and that's where you can see a lot of like the other creative endeavors that I dabble in and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and join us today on the episode. I know that you don't like being on camera, but we appreciate you coming to hang out with us today on camera, and coming to chat with us and to talk through all the things. Um, I truly appreciate you, and thank you again for joining us today. We're gonna take a final break, and then I'll be back to close out the show.
All right. Thank you.
Hmm.